Hi, good evening on this lovely Tuesday afternoon, I think. Or, yeah, well, evening actually. I'm your host, Gina Husk, and welcome to our new installment of OctoPrint Code and Chat. It's been a while since I made one of these, and the reason has been twofold. One of the reasons was of a personal nature that I'm not going to go in here, and the other one was, the stuff that I have been working on the past weeks was really, really, really ugly bug fixes, or rather fixes for really, really ugly bugs, which took me something like hours to analyze, and then something like 2 or 3 changed lines to fix. So that would not have been very entertaining. And the other big part of what I was doing was still working on automation and trying to figure out how to change the documentation build and stuff like that. So yeah, that also didn't strike me as, hey, that's great material for these kinds of live streams here. And so I held off and held off. And today I was, I became aware of a discussion on the forums about some particular stuff that I'm going to explain in a sec, and that made me go, that would maybe be a good idea to show on air how to implement. So this is what I'm going to do today. Okay, so what are we going to do? The thing is, plugins. You know plugins, right? Like the plugin repository, and you click install, and it installs through the plugin manager by pip installing a full plugin package from a configured URL configured on the plugin repository. And this is the most common type of plugins that are in use in OctoPrint. These full featured Python packages, which have their own which are like zip balls and zips or tarballs, sorry, which contain multiple files, which can contain front-end components, back-end components, and all the stuff, and also dependencies and all that. And yeah, they are, as we saw, not that difficult to write, as we saw when I wrote the terminal stats plugin, which was a plugin of that kind. However, there is a simpler type of plugin that OctoPrint also supports. So every OctoPrint instance out there supports single file plugins that can be loaded from a plugin folder. And currently, the only way to upload single file plugins to this upload folder is by SSHing into your Pi, or just some other doing something else to physically access the folder, the plugin folder, and then copying the file into that. And considering that single file plugins are quite nifty for things like working around some firmware quirks and such. So just rewriting some minor things that come in on the serial line, and which don't really necessitate dependencies and additional files and maybe front-end components and whatnot, but would just suffice in one single self-contained Python file. Yeah, those so far could not be just loaded into the plugin manager by throwing in a URL in and then hitting install and be done. But you had to jump through all these hoops with regards to, as I said, SSHing or otherwise accessing the folder and physically copying the file over. And this is what I'm going to change today, or at least the plan is to change that today. Because that's something that has been annoying me for quite some time now, and this forum post, as I said, gave the final trigger today to give this a try on air. I've of course already thought a bit about it, how to do it, which is how I decided that it hopefully should fit into our usual time frame here. But yeah, we'll have to see if I'm right with that, and if not, you may laugh at me or something like that. Anyhow, I'm going to switch you over to my second screen now, and hopefully you will also see the live chat populate. Yay! Wonderful. Right, so with a bit of lag. Oh no, okay, not that much lag actually. Okay, so first of all, before I dive into the modifications that we'll need for the plugin manager, I wanted to quickly show you or give you an example of one of these single file plugins. The only problem is that I now have to quickly find one. I think I might have some in This is the plugins folder that I talked about, and it's currently empty, but here is a bunch of stuff. So for what you first of all see is that there are also folders in here. That's another type of plugin that OctoPrint supports. So not just a single file, but also a single folder with stuff in it. We are not going to look at those today because you would have to upload them as a zip, and that makes them indistinguishable from the other part, the other kind of plugin that we talked about. So we are going to ignore those. We are only going to look at actual single Python files. So for example, let me quickly choose one. I don't know, maybe I have no idea what this one does. Yeah, so this is a prime example of a very, very simple single file plugin. It has a name, it has a hook handler defined. In this case, something that is supposed to happen when some G code is queued in the communication layer, so about to be sent to the printer, but not actually already on the way to being sent to the printer. It only requires this single method. So this is like 19 lines of plugin, and it does something. What does it actually do? It forces M108 through the COM layer immediately. So without further ado, it is not going to be enqueued. Actually, right in the second when it gets enqueued, it gets forced out. It doesn't really matter what it does. The only thing it does is, you see, it only has 19 lines. If I were now to package it up as one of the usual regular plugins, as you know them from the OctoPrint plugin repository, then things would grow. So then I would need to add a setup pie, and I would have to put that into its own package and whatnot. So that would blow this completely up. And the thing is, we only have 19 lines here, so this will probably also never need to be updated, right? So we don't need update hooks and all that at the very beginning, at least not. We can also think about that at some later point, but for now, we only have if we only have a plugin like that, it would be nice if we could just throw it up on a gist or in a GitHub repository somewhere, or I don't know, on Google Drive or whatnot. So just something that we get an HTTPS URL from, and that we can then throw into the plugin manager and install, just like we can install arbitrary plugins in there that are not under repository through, let me show you quickly, get more. From URL. So we want to be able to just paste a single file plugin, or rather the URL to a single file plugin, into this thing here, click install, and then have it registered in the system and work. That is the goal of today. So I'm going to quickly sum this up down here so that we do not lose track of what we are going to, or what we plan to achieve. Make single file plugins installable. I need to insert a line break here apparently, because it doesn't do this automatically. Nice. Via the plugin manager. And we don't only want to make it installable, but also manageable. And I hope I have written this correctly. No, I think it should be this. Well, tell me in the chat how much I mangled the English language just now. Right. Okay, so how do we go about that? First of all, we have to close everything that we don't need. And I'm fighting with the tripod of the camera again. Sorry for the weird here, because it is covering part of the screen, and as usual, this is giving me quite a hard time. Okay, so we want to look into the plugin manager. And so it needs the E. Thank you very much. Then I'm going to fix that quickly. I mean, not that it's very important, really, but manageable. English is such a weird language. Okay. Wow, 5 years already since I wrote this. Okay. Right, so how does this usually work? So when I click here on Get More and I paste the URL here and click Install, what happens is that it will call an endpoint that I'm currently trying to find here. On apt-get, no, on rp-command, install URL, right here. So it will take the URL from the data, then it will also try to fetch the plugin name on here because this is important for reinstallment. And then it will call command install with the URL and whether to force the installation and on. And all this right now is tailored towards pip install. So of actual proper Python packages, full-fledged plugins, so to speak. And if we upload here something, might also be some, so we're first going to concentrate on the URL, but we also probably want to make it possible that you just upload a Py file here and have it installed as well. So let's also take a look at that one. What happens there is we have a custom endpoint for that, and I already saw it up here, right? And upload archive where this file gets posted to. Then OctoPrint tries to figure out if it even looks like a zip or a tarball. And if it doesn't, it complains. And then it also calls install, but with the path to the archive instead. To a copy of the archive, I should say, to a temporary copy of the archive. And then also force and yeah, if necessary. So what we need to do is we probably need to split command install, because right now command install is completely and fully tailored towards pip installs, and that won't fly anymore, because yeah, we will also have to handle single file plugins completely differently. So we cannot just say pip install single file and then it will work, because pip will just say, what is that? I have no idea what I'm supposed to do with this. But instead we need to manually copy it into the plugin folder. So first of all, we probably should just, holy cow, that is long. Yeah, because of all the error handling and trying to detect which plugin and whatnot. So we will not need most of this for single file plugins. And also not this magic and all that. So yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to split this. First of all, we are going to I'm just thinking right now how best to split it. Whether to have the check if it's a Python file or not in here or in the individual thingies. And the thing is, we will have to fetch the URL. For pip installs, we do not have to fetch the URL actually, because pip will fetch it, but we will need to fetch the URL to determine its file type, if it's a plain text file, so a Python file, or if it's one of our zip or tarball files, in which case we need to pip install it. So yeah, it probably makes sense to make this determination here. So if URL is a Python file, we will go one way. If it's a zip archive or a tarball, we will go the other way. And the same for the path. If the path is one thing, we will do one. We will go the single file installation, and if it's another, we will go the other direction. Actually, we can probably just use the same check for both. We will download from the URL and then check with and then check the copy, what file type it has. Or we can also check if it's plain text or binary, but yeah, that's the idea, John. So basically first trying to figure out here what the URL is, So if URL is not none, sorry. So what do we need to do? If URL is none, we need to fetch URL, determine file type of fetched file. Well, that's a bit double, but you know what I mean. Actually, no, we want to do it differently. Okay, I need to quickly catch up on the chat because people are really, really talking fast right now. Wouldn't you need to check the MIME type of the content to determine that then? To determine what then? So the current idea that I have here is to fetch the URL contents, put them on disk, ideally, and that is which would help us a bit with determination of what file type it is, ideally with the file extension, the proper file name. So if I download a file, you usually get, or hopefully you get something like the file name with it. Either it's the last part of the URL, or maybe it's even an HTTP header, and that I can then use to determine if it's a zip, if it's an archive, or if it's something else. I could also check the response content type, but I could imagine that some of the download hosts out there simply send everything as what was it, application blob or something, or attachment blob. I can't remember right now, because I mean, in theory there is no difference between binary and text. So that would really depend on the configuration of the server. And I cannot just detect the end of the URL being pi, because, for example, I'm pretty sure that if you put something on gist.github.com, it doesn't necessarily end in .pi. I'm not entirely sure. I might be mistaken. But yeah. Also, that case where you put a zip file at a URL with a pi ending, I would classify as user error, or because, yeah, I mean, we could try to actually determine the file type via magic numbers, because all archives are pretty easily to distinguish that way, and maybe that would actually be the easiest thing to do here if it has a magic number. That matches a zip file or a tarball, we go the zip file and tarball, so the archive route. And if it looks like plain text, and I mean, we could even open the file and check if there are any of the OctoPrint, so like these prefixes here in there. So yeah. Anyhow, let me quickly create a new dev command install archive here, because that is what we have to call at a later date then. Path equals none, force equals, actually, let me quickly copy all that. Okay, because this is now, yeah, this is this one here now. So if self is archive path return command install archive. And that obviously needs self in front. Else, or actually if self is single, or if is Python file path, return self command install Python file. And we only need a path here. Yeah, we only need a path here. Okay, so we have this huge, enormous thing that I'm going to quickly make smaller here. And then dev command install Python file. No, wait. We wrote it like that. And actually, we just give it a path. And also we can now just give it a path here as well. Because it doesn't really make sense to download it twice, and we always have to download it in order to determine the file path. So we just from now on will install the archives from paths and not from URLs, so that can get removed here. All of that can go away. Okay. And now, we need to download that thing into a temporary file. And I'm actually trying to reuse, or rather to cheat a bit here and take a look at how I did that here, up there. Right, because we need to create a temporary file name. Oh wait, or rather download. Why don't we import that here instead of up there? Yeah, we are going to need this. We're going to need this right up here. Actually, we already have OS. So the problem now that I have here is that I would like to try to preserve the file name, and if I create a name temporary file here, that will not preserve the file name because it will create a temporary file name. So what we actually need probably is a temporary directory into which we can download the file. Okay, I need to quickly brush up on my temp file RP knowledge, because right now I have absolutely no idea what methods I have available here. Because we want a temporary directory using the same rules as make. No, resulting can be used as a context manager. Perfect. So we want a temporary directory by calling the cleanup method. Perfect. Okay. So we want that instead. And I think this is sufficient this way. Phew. I'm currently trying to figure out if there's some way whether we can use a with statement here so that we can absolutely make sure that this always gets cleaned up afterwards. But yeah. Yeah, we'll have to do this separately. Okay, so we now have a folder. And folder actually has a folder.name, I think. Yeah, and that is the path that we want to download the file to. And now we need to download it, and I have to check, is there some way in requests Python download, or do we need to do we need to use something else there? Download file is maybe better. Just with write R content apparently. So with requests get, then the URL, we stream it as true, we raise for status, we open our file name. Oh dear. Okay, then we write our content to that thing, and then we have that. Okay, so that would work. But yeah, we are simply going to mostly copy that, but we are going to modify it. Actually we're going to extract that into our own method. Download file self target is URL to target to folder, actually like that, and then and what we're now going to do is we need to, so that is the first version of the local file name. We take the final bit from the URL, but that is not necessarily the right thing. We also want to check the response header if in r.headers, and I have to check how that thing again was called again. I think it was the content disposition and then the attachment file name field thingy. Content disposition. So if a content disposition header is present, then we want to check if there is also this thing here, because if so, we want to use this as the file name. So the question is, how do I get that from requests? Python content disposition. Nice. Okay. I would have expected there to be some slightly different. Actually, that one is somewhat nice-ish. Why don't we just take that? Okay, so if content disposition in our headers keys, then the local file name is whatever is in there. Otherwise, the local file name is the final part of the URL. And now what we're going to do is we're going to remove this actually. we are going to open ospath join folder.local file name, right, for writing as binary. Okay. What we can also do, by the way, of course, is check the content type, the content length and stuff like that, that it doesn't exceed some safety threshold. However, that will be a bit weird to, or too difficult to determine maybe. But yeah, that is something that I'll actually add as a to-do here. To-do check content length against safety limit thingy. So. Okay, so we download the file with request get URLs. Stream truthers are raised for status. If there is an error, it will get raised here. Local file name, local file name. For chunk in R iter content chunk blah blah f right blah blah local file name. Okay. I'm trying to figure out. We actually want to assert that the length of the local file name is more than 0 here, because depending on how the URL is formatted, otherwise we might run into issues here. And we are not going to return the local file name. We are going to return the path that we join here. This will actually be path. And this will also be path. And then we can just do path equals self.download file URL folder. Okay, so we have a download. Yeah, it might be static. Okay, we're making it static. You're making it static. Right, static method, right? Yeah, that was correct. Okay, so that was that. And now we also need is archive and this Python file. So def is archive. And actually that can also probably be a static method. We don't need self in there. And that gets what? A path. And then it returns false for now. And the same we have with static method. Def is Python file path return false. And if it is neither, we actually need to return raise an error, right? Because like that. So the way things are now, I would expect that installation no longer works right now, because we, yeah, both of those return false. But let's check what things are doing. So we're going to restart the server. Oh, there was an error. Indentation error. All right. We start again. Okay. Plugin manager, get more. Yeah, and if we now just quickly install one of the very small request spinner, for example. If I try to install that now, I would expect things to break hilariously. Yep. This is precisely what I expect. This is not precisely what I expect. Oh, right, I shouldn't have given it folder, but folder.name. Okay, so we do that now. Ooh, this method is way too long. Folder.name. And also what I forgot is I actually want folder is none. Try. Yeah. So to make sure that it actually gets deleted after stuff has been installed, because yeah, otherwise it won't be fun. Restart. And then go in there and try to install that thing again. And it still fails, but hopefully it fails differently now. Yeah, it now returns a 400, and we can actually check. We cannot actually check. I need to reload for that. Not reload, but reinstall for that. Now we should hopefully see the 400 here and the corresponding error message. Need either an archive or a Python file. So okay, that works. And now we'll first of all make sure that what worked before works again. So is archive path. The easy way, of course, is first of all checking if the extension is in our list of archive extensions. So we are going to do the easy thing here, and I think it was split x path if x in self, no wait, in dot archive extensions return true, and if it is not, then we need to check for magic numbers. And this is now the point where I need to look up the magic numbers that I mentioned. Magic number zip. I think it was just picard zip. Actually, that sounds very nice. PK. Oh dear. Wait. Python magic number. Wasn't there? Didn't I? I'm pretty sure I'm doing that somewhere already. Maybe with FileMagick even. I mean, there was something. At some point, sometime, I already had the situation that I had to determine a magic number for something. Sadly not here. I'm trying to remember right now where I did mime type guessing. Wait. Mime type guess type. Maybe we can use. Oh wait, this is not in my code. This is actually we want to look in here. Guess extension. What is guess extension? Does guess extension help us in any way? Ah, no, that is the other way around. That won't help us at all. Oh. Okay, so for now we are going to, can we? We actually can, because it seems to be Python 3 compatible. Nice. And also it has which license? Apache software license. No, right, yeah, Apache. Yeah, that should be. Does it work on Windows? Next question. Unsure. No, okay, we are going to do this differently. Pure Python. Oh, pure magic. Works on 2.7 and 3.4 and PyPy. And MIT license. Perfect. We'll use that. So Pure Magic 1.8. Wait, what is file type? Give me a second. Maybe I already look at that. We can also use this because we already have it. File type, guess, file extension, MIME type. What else can we get there? Archives, nice. Audio, video, image. Ooh. File type. How do I use that again? Just guess and the path, right? Well, let's try that then. Okay, we need to import that. And then we want we could actually just do that. Right? Let's see. We are going to put a breakpoint here. No, wait, we're going to... We'll actually have to comment this out for a bit because I want to check how file type behaves. So we're going to comment this out, put a breakpoint here, restart the server, and then try to install a plugin from the repository again to verify what we get back here. I expect it to be, yeah, file extension, like a zip, but yeah, I want to make sure. And for the record, because I just had a chance to read up on the chat, yeah, Joseph, I was actually hoping to not have to implement it myself. I mean, yeah, it's not that tricky. You just open the file, you check the first couple of bytes against a list of known magic numbers. But if there is already a library, and if I even have this library already in my dependencies, then, well, I can save myself some hassle. Okay, bam. And the kind is, look at that, it's a zip object. Extension, zip, mime, zip, another extension, zip. Yep, that's nice. So that should work. If we now, oops, if we now click on play here, it should install. It doesn't. Why? Why? Oh, dot zip. Oh, great. Also the same problem here, of course. We're going to stop that here because we do not actually want to install it right now, but it got detected properly. And I would expect it to... I never checked the path, I just noticed. I don't use the MIME type here because I also want to keep it compatible to the way the part where you upload a file. In which case, I do not have an actual MIME type that I can use or that I can rely. And I also cannot really rely on the MIME type that I get from the server. And I could match against the MIME type here instead of the extension, but well, I already coded it up to match against the extension. So. Okay. What's the path? That actually looks good because this is the... I'm pretty sure that this is the zip file name that gets sent in the content disposition header from GitHub. So that is nice. That seems to work here. The extraction of the file name, I mean. And now we should... Oh, that already contains the dot. Wonderful. Okay. But yeah, so we would continue here. And is Python file. So we do the same thing as we do here. Wait. I'm only adding obviously one for now, but maybe at some point we might need more, so I'm just going with the same mechanism that we already use for the archive extensions instead of using one single value that is hard-coded somewhere deep down in the code. Just in case you were wondering why I'm doing it that way. So we are going to check that, check this against that. So if it ends on pi, it's a Python file. Also, yeah, the question is, what would happen if we let the file type guesser work on this here, right? That would be interesting. So we are simply going to try that now. I'm curious. This is all, and we are going to comment that out again. And then I'm going to feed it a Python file from some URL. So I need a Python file from a URL. And we're going to simply take this one, call this m108 underscore support underscore what? Oh, just that .py. Put this in there, create a secret gist. And now we have this here. And this is, by the way, what I meant. If I copy this URL, you see that it does end in 12e89d blah 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 hashtag, so fragment URL file which is not really helpful. I hope that it gets a proper attachment header though. So yeah, we are going to take this URL and we're going to I have to restart the server. Thank you, John. That's a good point. I need this one. Which, oh, that one actually ends on, okay. So I need this link. And I need to, is the server not up? It is up, but it hasn't noticed. Okay. And then we are simply going to throw that in here and hopefully, but it doesn't. Okay. Let me check why we never reach this code. Because we really should. Yep. Yeah. Look at that. That actually works fairly nice. And then it falls on its face. Why? It will hopefully tell me here. Ah, yeah. Well, that at least tells us that apparently it cannot guess this type, which makes things a bit problematic. First of all, we need to harden it against this problem. Okay, so it cannot, the file type guessing thing cannot guess the file type of the Python file. I mean, we saw that, at least in our case, this part here would work because it ends on pi. But it would also be nice to maybe try to guess if it's if it's a plain text file or something. I mean, we could just go after extension, but is there a way to detect a plain text file from Python? And that is the thing that we already saw, right? That we, yeah. Not helpful. Joseph, you never should store anything sensitive in a secret gist. They are just it's just like, I mean, guessing this string is fairly unlikely, but right? So yeah. Yeah, we already learned that by MIME types.guess type doesn't work. Not too happy with that either. Okay. You know what? I'm not too happy with this for now, but in order to be able to progress here, we are going to say a Python file needs to either have, so either the URL needs to end in pi, or the server needs to send a content disposition header with the file name that ends in pi, and otherwise that thing will not be detected as a Python file. End of discussion. Because otherwise things will, yeah, I'll need to think a bit about if I want to do binary file detection and stuff. So for now, we leave it at this. Okay, so we already saw this lengthy install archive thing. We don't need to check the throttle state. We probably want to log something. I don't want to. For now, we're doing that. And how does installation work? Well, we will basically just take the file path and copy it over into the .plugins folder. So destination will be self-settings global get base folder. Is this correct? I'm not entirely sure right now. Yeah, this is correct. And the type will be plugins, I think. I have to quickly check. It's been a while since I had to look that up. Plugins, yeah, okay. So this is the destination. Come to think of it, we actually even need to, yeah, it needs the file name. It needs to have the full file name. Anyhow, it needs to end in .py, and because we need to know. Let me sort my thoughts first before I try to explain why I just realized that we don't need to make it so complicated, because we have to rely on the file name being properly communicated by the server in some way or the other. So either by being encoded in the URL or being in the content disposition attachment file name header thingy. Because the thing is, the way this works is that OctoPrint looks inside this plugin folder for stuff that has basically a format of plugin identifier.py. And what we're going to do in order to install it is we're going to take the file and copy it into the plugin folder. So it should really be called .py, so something .py. So we just, if we get this far now, we have assured that it is a .py file, so we can just copy it over. And for that, we need the file name. which will be os path dot. Oh, it was not base name. Oh, it was base name, right? The final component, right? Exactly. Sometimes. Also, apologies for the church bells in the background that you probably hear, even though I have all my windows closed. It's 18 o'clock, bimmel, bimmel, bimmel. And also what I just learned is that apparently, and this, I was actually starting to think I was going crazy because every day at 19:30, there was another 5 minute or so, bim, bim, bim out there. And I was thinking I was imagining things and that had always been there and I had just forgotten it or something. And yesterday I learned, nope. Or no, the day before yesterday, I think. I learned that nope, I'm mistaken. Or rather, I'm right. It wasn't there always. It's a special Corona crisis awareness church bell ringing. The one at 1930, not the one at 1800. 1800, yeah. So I've already decided that I'll never move close this close to a church ever again. I'm learning from my mistakes. So srutil copy. Oh, copy or copy to? What was the difference? And what's the difference to copy file? Jesus, make it difficult. So what is copy to? Copy data and all stat info. Return the file's destination. Maybe a directory. Oh, that makes it even easier. So we just copy the path into the destination and call it a day. No, actually we need the file name because we also need the plugin ID, which will be the left part of os path.split text file name. So the moment we copy this over, it is installed per se. There is not much to it. But we also need to register it now with the plugin system. So what we do is oh, what did I do there? Magic. I'm just trying to figure out again how to re-register the stuff but from the plugin manager, but I think it was simply this, which of course makes things very easy. In this case, the plugin info is self.pluginmanager.get.plugins. Oh, right. It was this. This one is what I want. I want to reload the plugins, not find plugins. So reload plugins. And after I've reloaded, I need the plugin that I just installed because I need to return some stuff on the API for it so that the front end can cope with it. New plugin, find installed plugin, find install self, find plugins, blah. I'm thinking too difficult. No, not really. And I need to quickly check how I can fetch one single plugin from the plugin manager, because as embarrassing as it is to say, I managed to forget. Plugin manager, I think it was just self detect plugins. Yeah, I'll just... This finds all of them. I don't want to find all of them. Yeah, I'll just access plugins and then check if it's in there. Get plugin ID. If plugin info. So if we could find it, then apparently it got registered correctly. And in this case, what do we do in this case? Oh, wait. So if it is none, if it wasn't found, then we do that. And what was source and source type again? Oh, okay, nice. Oh, Master Talks, the idea is actually nice. To simply try to parse that thing with AST parse. Maybe I'll do that. But first of all, I need to modify this stuff here slightly because I just noticed source and source type will not work like that. Because right now we are always setting this to the local path even if we install it from the URL. So we are going to actually inject that here. Source is none, source type is none. And we want it like this. And the same we want the same here. I would love to see how you are doing the WebSockets for the front and back end with your importance reasoning. I know it is a complex and probably deserves its own session. Justin, you might want to take a look at the plugin development series, the 3 episodes, a couple of episodes ago, because there I did some stuff where it sends stuff through the socket up to the front end, and there is never a back channel, so I don't send stuff from front end to back end. I always just send it from back end to front end. For front end to back end, there is the REST APIs. And I don't use Socket.io, I use Sock.js, though I have to say I'm not entirely sure that was a good decision because Sock.js is fairly no one seems to use it apart from me. Okay, it's not that bad, but the Socket.io stuff seems to be a bit more maintained these days. If you have, Justin, if you have some more specific questions there, maybe get in touch on the Discord or on the forum, and then I can maybe think about it, how best to show that, or just quickly explain it in text. I don't know, maybe that works better. Also, just for the record, we have next to no error checking here right now. And I'm also just freely copying stuff now. Oh. I'm just trying to... Actually, we're going to rename this because it's just making things tricky having different names here. Plugin implementation is instance. So we actually do need all plugins before to determine if this was reinstalled. And if you're wondering what I'm doing here, I'm trying to add some of the logic that we do for the pip install stuff to determine the state of the plugin after installation. Because, wait, let me quickly... Nope, this is going to get removed. Right, like that. Whew. This is a bit of a duplicated code fragment. This is somewhat of a brain F-U-C-K. Trying to figure out stuff. So if we copy it successfully, if something goes wrong while we copy it, we need to throw an error back. And probably the one like this. And we also want to write stuff to this progress dialog thing so that we see that something is actually happening, and I'm trying to figure out how that worked again with the log message apparently. Okay. Actually, so we log that we install a single file plugin, then we get the current list of plugins, then we figure out our plugin ID and the file name and destination stuff, we copy it over, We reload the plugins. We check if we can load the plugin. If not, then we tell the user, hey, it was installed successfully because this one did not cause an error or something, but it couldn't be found afterwards in the system, so please restart. Then we check if the plugin needs a restart, a refresh, or a reconnect in order to be fully functional. We log all the plugins registered to the system. We log that the plugin was installed correctly with the name and the version. The version will probably be empty for single file plugins unless someone actually puts a plugin version identifier in there. We fire a plugin manager install plugin event, and then we return. Oh wait, this needs to be removed. And then we return to the return from the request, and that should hopefully do it already. Command install Python. Let's see what happens. So we restart the server once again. Also, the nice thing is, I think for uninstalling, we don't need to do anything because plugins that are single file or folder, as it's called here, they are already uninstallable through OctoPrint. They just are not through the plugin manager. Sorry, they are just not. It's just not possible to install them. So hopefully this will solve this. Okay. So we are going to reload. And then we go here, and we go here, and we go there, and then I need to find the raw link to that thing again. Hello? Thank you. So install. So far, so good. Command install. We go in there. No, we go in there. I don't want to hang in this breakpoint. And then I actually want to step through the whole through that. So we land there. So far, so good. Installing plugin from blop. That looks good. Then we log a message. That looks also good, though a bit repetitive, admittedly. We determine the destination, the file name, and the plugin ID. The plugin ID is M108 support. That is correct. The file name is not really needed anymore. All right, no, we needed it for that, right? Then we copy it. So it should now be in our, look here, there it is. Then we reload all our plugins. We try to fetch it. We found it. That is good. That is really good. We determine if it needs a restart. It doesn't. If it needs a refresh, it doesn't. If it needs a reconnect, it doesn't. Okay, we log all the plugins. It's here. It is incompatible because it's not Python 3 compatible. Okay, that was my mistake here. We can quickly fix this in a second. It was installed successfully, but it will not be loaded. Okay, and we fire an event. We log some more stuff, send them, and then, yeah, it has been installed, but it won't load because it's not Python 3 compatible. So it should show up actually somewhere here. It shows, yeah, there. Shows up here with a bit marker incompatible to the underlying Python environment. Okay. Does this thing actually need any kind of... We can probably just quickly mark it as compatible, to be honest. And actually we can check if reinstallation works. So we... where is my... I just want to quickly check or quickly steal this line here, because then I don't have to remember how it is supposed to be written down. And then I'll quickly adjust this to include that line. And then we are going to do this again, though this time the URL is probably different. So we go there, we go here, we go there, there, there. And this should hopefully a support for. Nah, it's still marked as incompatible. Why? Did it override it? Okay, let's try to remove it. See, deletion funktioniert. Deletion works. Yeah, we still need to iron out some kinks here, I think, because it's getting confused a bit between what is installed and what is not installed, and also installing single file plugin. Let's quickly restart. For the record, I still don't know what is up with that. Ah, there it is. So that worked. No homepage, no license, no author, because all these fields are not set, right? In the file here. We could change that, but we haven't. So if there was no name, it would simply be called by its ID too. So this is really, really small stuff. So, but as we saw, it gets a bit confused if the plugin is already there and we reinstall it. So we need to actually take a look at how we solved that here. And I think that was with these all plugins after and before thing, but I'm not entirely sure. Whew. Okay, we'll have to reproduce this problem, I think. But how we are going to add this wonderful URL as the homepage URL. Then we are going to check what happens if we reinstall it. It doesn't read in the metadata again, and I'm not entirely sure why that is. So let's check what actually does happen here. We're not in install archive. We are install we are in install Python file. Ooh, okay. So the reload plugins part here, that should actually force it to reload the stuff, but apparently it doesn't. What does reload plugins do again? I need to check. Loading plugins from folders. Edit found. K enforce reload. Ah, I think it actually has something to do with this find plugin. Oh. These moments when you need to figure out why you did something the way you did it again. It really is, sometimes it's really confusing. Look. So let's just try to replicate what I did here, because for some reason I did it and it seems to work, and I know this is a bit cargo culty now, but you know, the only thing that is really very much confusing to me when I do these streams is this silence, this deafening silence here, because usually when I code I always listen to music, and when I stream I don't, because first of all, of course, royalties, and second of all, there is no good way to stream music so that it sounds good for you and me. Also, I don't want to annoy you with music. Yeah, I think at some point I simply need a little Bluetooth in-ear thing here in order to be able to listen to music while I do this. Crap. That was the lid of my bottle. So we changed this. We have reloaded. I need to grab the URL again because I think I overwrote it with stuff. We paste this. It does stuff. And this stuff hopefully also involves... Oh, no, I can scroll all I want. No, it doesn't. It still doesn't involve reloading. I mean, it wants us to restart. But it would also be nice if it already at least showed us the metadata, right? But we're going to make it happy and restart. Oi, from a lurker. Python is pretty. Wasn't it plugin homepage? Because it's still lacking the... Wait. But it's in here. Okay, so maybe the problem is not in my code, or is not in that code, but in my head. What was it again? What is the attribute for the... Oh, it was the URL. Great. Okay, let's try this again. Back to square one. Edit. And this is URL. Raw. Please, 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 please. Yay! Okay, it works now. Great. Okay, so that works. What we did not yet test is if we can upload a PY file through this, and we cannot because that still checks against I have to go here. That still checks against the archive URL stuff. So we probably want to rename it first of all, because currently it's called upload archive, and we want to be able to upload more than just an archive. So what we will do here is we will rename this into upload file, and that will also require a change to the front end right now. And then that should do that already. And we need to change the upload endpoint. I think it was defined in JavaScript, but I'm not entirely sure. Bum bum badum bum bum. No. Invalid archive. Oh. Wonderful. We also need to rename that. Great. Okay. Where did I define the... Was it in the template after all? The upload URL? Installation virtual blah blah cleanup. Nope. Install new plugins. That sounds promising. Perform repository available. Blah blah. Visible. Looks like there's no from URL. No from an uploaded. Ah, there it is. Okay, so this must be upload file. This must be plugin manager file extensions, which we're going to rename in here as well. Somewhere, wherever it is archive extension. Ah, that's a template var. We need to do it that way. Is there an easy, proper way to unit test our plugins? Do we just follow the standard Flask unit testing patterns? I have to admit that I think I have never tried the Flask unit testing pattern with the plugins. I have no idea, honestly. But if you want to try that and tell me how it works out, I would be very, very grateful, because that would, yeah, solve and clarify that for me. Where was the check against the enable toggle, enable uninstall, enable repo install, invalid URL? No. Enable URL, invalid archive. Nope. Okay, for some reason apparently it cannot refactor this. It can, but I pressed the wrong shortcut. Okay. It's a bit annoying that we have to maintain this list at 2 positions, but yeah. It is like it is. I'll install. Yeah, we'll have to do this manually in the enable archive install. Actually, we do it like that. And that should hopefully be it in order to enable uploading of PI files through this upload thing. And I sincerely hope that one of the neighbors is barbecuing, because otherwise the smell that just crept into my nostrils is highly disturbing. Okay, let's hope for the best. So we are going to once again restart the server and are going to... Oh, I minimized it. Nice. And then we are going to check if we can now just take one of the other single file plugins and upload it through this upload thingy. Obviously it will, yeah, whatever. Obviously it will not properly load because of no Python 3 support, because I'm currently running the server here under Python 3. What was this again, by the way? Ah. But yeah, we need to reload this. I'll be right back. This smell is a bit... Yeah, let me quickly check the flat. I'll be right back. Yep, definitely a barbecue going on somewhere in the neighborhood. Now I'm relieved. The problem is it smells really good. Where was I? Right, I wanted to check what happens if I browse for... I need to change the wording there as well. If I browse for one of the... Oh. Now I need to quickly find the correct folder. No. Okay. And then we are going to take that one. This does not look like a valid plugin archive. Okay, so for some reason this does not yet work. Also, by the way, I have a smoke alarm here. It's in Germany, it's absolutely mandatory to have a smoke alarm in any room that could be considered a bedroom. And even though this is my office, officially it is considered a bedroom. So I have a smoke alarm, mandatory smoke alarm installed by my landlord in here and in my actual bedroom. And also in the hallway. Yeah, so... But still, when I smell this, right, this wood stuff, it is a bit disturbing. Also, the Mr. Beam should not have been blinking. Actually, that was probably a reflection from one of the printers blinking. Okay, but why do we still get this? Oh, because this invalid archive thing apparently is true. Why is it true? What is invalid archive anyhow? It should be invalid file. So probably because of that. Or a single file Python plugin with the extension .py. Enable file install. The magic smoke definitely smells different. Though I have to say, this kind of smoke also smells a bit magic. I would really like to have some barbecue now. It smells of, I think they are doing marinated steaks or something. Aaron, yeah, there is. You have to check the plugin PyCompat field in the plugin itself. So that line here, that's the magic line. And you can parse this out via the AST. You don't even have to load the Python file. And I will not follow my nose because social distancing. And even though in theory the rules have been very much lifted now in Germany, so a lot of stuff that was not allowed 4 weeks ago is now allowed. Like you can meet up to, I think, people from 5 different households are allowed to meet and stuff like this. But I'm not doing that. The only people outside of my household that I've met the past 3 months actually have been my boyfriend and my mom. Rather my parents, because my mom had the surgery, and yeah, I needed to check on her. So I know that was not maybe the best idea, but then again, it was already when a lot of the restrictions had already been lifted. So it was legal at the point when I did it, but still, yeah, we still kept our distance and all that. But yeah. Let's check what happens now after I change this name. Pretty sure it was a binding error that caused this problem because of the non-existing invalid archive thing. There's still an error, right? Yeah, wonderful. I hate having to debug binding errors in Firefox. You know that already, so I'm switching to this. We also have a CSS thing somewhere where we use this invalid archive line, and we just have to invalid archive. Yeah. Should be invalid file. And let's try this again. Where's there? Yeah. So let's try this again. Plugin manager, get more. Now it's no longer showing. We can now select it again. What was it that we log M117, right? That actually looks okay. Install. That seems to work, apart from the thing that it's now called PETD42. That is not good. That is definitely not good, because this is now the plugin identifier as well. So that is a bug that we still need to iron out here. And I think we can still make this, but do that. But after that, we are calling it a day here. So the thing is that we are currently creating a new name temporary file here with the suffix blah, and we don't want that. We actually needed to have a. Ugh, that's not good. Why did I do it that way? Yeah, we need to switch that over to a named temporary folder, a temporary folder, which we then also have to remove afterwards, I think. Or do we? Oh. I'm trying to remember why I even did it like that. And I think it was because of the way that I install pip here. No, I'm not entirely sure why I did it like that, to be honest. Why the temporary name in between? Why don't I just use... Oh. Oh, come on, stop with the Python bashing in the chat already. The question why I did something here has nothing to do with Python and more with probably some issue that I ran into at some point with the way I was doing it before. Should be available. Blah, also use only extension of an upload plug as a suffix for the temporary that's used for installing. Okay, apparently whatever I did here. Great. That's not helpful at all. I need the one before that. The plugin manager is now bundled with OctoPrint. Okay, that is not helpful. So it has always been this way, and I have no idea why. Isn't it great? So I'm going to... Ooh. Actually, Joseph, how can you bash a language that maintains its logic flow by whitespace? That way people are finally at least forced to indent their bloody code, instead of these horrible messes that I used to encounter when I was still working in the Java world. But indentation doesn't matter. Well, in Python it does, so you don't have an excuse anymore to not properly format your shit. Yeah, I have no idea why I did it that way, but the problem is I do not want to change it now without having some more time to probably dive into it. So I'm going to call it a day here now, and I'm not going to commit this for now because right now the upload through the upload button thingy doesn't work. Actually, let me quickly change it so that it no longer allows Python here again. And then we will also quickly change back this text here. And also the valid extension check here. And now we can safely commit this, because now it only works on the URL, in the URL field, and it doesn't yet work in the upload field. And the other thing I will just simply take a look at a later point. I just want to quickly make sure that the changes here are just renaming stuff. That looks okay. And thank you, Justin. And that is also correct. And this is correct. And this is, oh, wait. There was one other place where we injected template vars. Right, that has to go as well. Second try. So, temp file as usual, file type, blah blah, Python extensions list, then some changes to the endpoint names. This was moved up there, the rest we did not touch. We split stuff here. We have a download file helper, and is archive helper, and then is Python file helper. We do some magic here and there, and some logging. And that should be it. So I'm going to commit this now. Okay. So this is now pushed. You can now take a look at it as well, and hopefully I did not break anything. I'll still have to take a look at the upload button part of that, so that you can also just drop a file in there instead of having to supply a URL. But I'll do this offline, probably tomorrow morning or something. Tomorrow noon, probably rather. And that is this for now, I think. So we achieved our goal here of making single file plugins installable and manageable via the plugin manager. Actually manageable they already were, because the only thing that you can manage here is enabling and disabling, and that is completely separate from the type of plugin you have, whether it's a package-based plugin or a single file plugin. And you all could already uninstall them. But yeah, so we achieved that. There's still this one to do where I need to check the content length of the URL I'm downloading. But yeah, in principle, I think it should be fine now. And since it's almost 7, and we've been at this now for almost 2 hours, and I'm frankly a bit tired of the day, I'm going to wrap this up now. So let me quickly switch you over to me again. Okay, hi. Yeah, so next one will be whenever I find something that makes sense to show publicly, or maybe when something falls into my lap like it did today. Yeah, I've come to realize that it doesn't really make sense for me to promise a specific frequency for these things, because contrary to, for example, the OctoPrint on Air thing, which is prepared and where I have these Q&A segments and all that stuff, this one here is like you watch me doing something, and if the something is very boring, the whole stream is really boring. So lengthy bug hunts or automation or just compiling a change list is probably not something that is worth streaming, so I'm not going to do that. But yeah, whenever I have something that looks like it might be a nifty bug to fix live on air or something like that, then I will just schedule one, maybe quite spontaneously, and do that. So maybe we'll go about this like that. Right. And yeah, I'll leave you all just to your Python bashing. And if it makes you happy, please do whatever you want. I know my opinion, and Justin knows his opinion, and yeah. And there is a piece of okay, yeah. And with that being said, I hope it was entertaining, and I hope also interesting. So not only haha, look, she forgot how her code works, but also oh look, I learned something. And okay, I have to say something about that former lurker. These language changes that we are now seeing between Python 2 and 3, they are absolutely ugly. I'm 100% on your side with that, but this is hopefully a one-time thing. I don't think that they will do that again, and even if they do it again, they will probably not do it again within the next 10 years. So judging Python by the current Python 2 end of life and Python 3 being slightly backwards incompatible situation, I think is a bit unfair, because yeah, that's like the worst thing ever that happened to the whole ecosystem. And yeah, but yeah, I just needed to get this off my chest. And with that being said, now really for sure, have a good evening. And as I said, I hope it was interesting, and feel free to play around with it on the maintenance branch if you want, what we built today. And yeah, that was that, I think. Until next time, whenever that may be. For the patrons, for the patrons at the $5 and up level, by the way, OctoPrint on Earth 32 was announced today as well. Will be next Friday, on June 19th, I think. Just for your interest. So for all of you, the next time will be then. But yeah, for everyone, for the next code in chat, I'm not entirely sure yet. We'll see. So yeah. Until then, I hope you all stay healthy and wear a mask, please, and wash your hands and all that. And of course, obviously also, happy printing. Bye.